What's up, everybody? We back with another video, and today we're gonna be talking about one tip for guarding every shooting guard in the entire game. Also, I got this championship cloak, bro. This thing looks really nice. Also, congrats to the Golden State Warriors. I knew they was gonna win anyway, bro. But still, anyway, congrats on the championship win, bro. That's 4 rings for Steph Curry, bro. The man is a shooting monster. Let's jump to the people. First up on our list, we're going to be looking at Ayumi. The way that you want to guard Ayumi, you want to make sure that you are always, at the very least, disturbing her. Why do you want to always make sure you're disturbing her? It's because her shooting stats are not very good in comparison to other shooting guards. She only gets 30 three-point shot from herself, bumping her up to 86, and she only gets 30 mid-range from herself, bumping her up to 88. So if they're not using any gear to boost up those shooting stats or any assist characters to boost those, all you have to do is just make sure you disturb her, and she will not make every single shot. Now, that does not mean don't try to block the shot, bro. Make sure you try to block the shot, but also just make sure you're always disturbing her on every single shot that she takes. Next up, we're looking at Hoy/David because their kits are basically the same. David just so happens to be a direct upgrade to Hoy, especially when you look at the kits, bro. Hoy's kit is extremely underwhelming in comparison to David. So we're going to talk about the exact same thing with them, and that's stopping the jump stop shot. Now, you do not want to be trying to predict those jump stop shots. You want to make sure that you practice your timing on blocking shots. You don't even have to block it sometimes, bro. Just make sure you can, at the very least, try your best to get an orange disturbance. That's a normal disturbance. Try your best to get one of those. But the big thing I want y'all to take away from this is make sure you are not trying to predict a jump stop shot. Practice on your timing, and you will block those every single time. I've seen people do it. I've seen people do it to me. I've done it to other people. So just make sure, man, y'all follow that tip. You will be shutting these people down. All right, next up, we're looking at I was finna say Maddie, because that's my fiance's nickname. We're looking at Maggie, bro. So the thing you want to do to stop Maggie, you want to make sure you're being careful and looking out for those step backs. Maggie players love step backs. And another thing you want to look out for, just like with Fire King, you want to look out for that drift 3-point, man. Her drift 3-point is better than Fire King because of the level 4. She gets 10% more shooting accuracy and 5% more disturbance resistance. So, yeah, man, make sure you're looking out for those drift 3 points. Try your best to stay inside the middle of her and Fire King's disturbance zone, because if you end up too far to the left or right, they're going to go the opposite direction with a drift 3-point, and they will shoot that shot and make it, bro. So make sure y'all keeping that in mind. They have a lot of disturbance resistance. They also have a bunch of accuracy to their 3-point shots because of their passives as well. All right, we got Fire King pulled up. So I know I talked about him when I was mentioning Maggie's drift 3-point, but the difference between Fire King and Maggie is that when you're playing against Fire King, you want to try your best every single time to block this man's shot so you can reset his passive. That should be your primary focus when you're guarding the Fire King. And just like I said with Maggie, try your best to stay inside the middle of his disturbance zone so that if he tries to do a drift shot, you have a really good chance of blocking that. Now, if he has a speed build on, that's going to be very complicated because they like to just run left and right and try to wait for you to slip up and go too far to either side. So try your best to stay inside the middle and make sure you try your best to block this man's shots, because if his passive continues to build up, later on inside the game, you will not be able to stop this man. All right, we got Susan on the screen. The tip I will give you for guarding Susan is that if you know she still has her lag start, make sure you are guarding her extremely close. You want to try your best to, at the very least, get a severe disturbance. Also, another tip for guarding her, when you see her doing the feint with the behind the back dribble, just step outside the disturbance zone, bro. She is not like Marcus. She can't pull up like he can. So just step outside the disturbance zone. Once that animation ends, step back in there. And also, the feint behind the back dribble step backs, make sure y'all are being careful stepping up to those because they will do it behind the back to the left or right, and it's basically a guaranteed ankle breaker. If you step back into that into the step back behind the back dribble, you step into that and then they do a behind the back dribble to the side, it's almost a guaranteed ankle breaker. So make sure y'all are being careful with those as well. Next up, we're looking at Marcus. Now, the tip I want to give you for guarding Marcus is that well, it's not so much of a tip. It's more so of a the more you know kind of thing, right? So I'm gonna put a clip on the screen right here to cover up the background while I talk about his behind the back dribble feint into the pull up. So if he's doing a feint behind the back dribble, he cannot do the pull up until the end of the feint. So make sure y'all keeping that in mind. If you see him still doing the feint, dribbling between his legs before he goes behind the back, do not try to predict that pull-up during that time. He cannot do the shot until after the end of the feint, bro. Make sure y'all keeping that in mind. All right, we're nearing the end of the shooting guards, and we are looking at Friedman, bro. The way that you want to guard him is that no matter where he's at, you got to make sure you're staying close to this man, because if he does a tricky post up, you want to make sure you're close enough to block it. Yes, it is a very inconsistent ability, but that does not mean you should bank on that for him to miss those shots. Stay close to this man. Stay vigilant. If you see him going into the paint, always assume he's going to go for the double pump. Your center inside the paint is going to try to block the dunk. Make sure you waiting for him to double pump and you block the double pump so that you have your center in the paint waiting on the dunks. You're going to be inside the paint waiting on the double pump. Catch him off guard, bro. He's going to think he's going to trick y'all, but you're going to end up blocking that. Make sure y'all keep that in mind. Also, do not fall for his tricky post-up feints. I know it gets even more inconsistent when he does a second feint, but just make sure you're keeping an eye out for that tricky post-up, because this man will pull those up if he has no other option. All right, last shooting guard, we're looking at Mary. This is a very rare character, not because she was inside the release celebration and she's exclusive to the people who are basically OGs to the game. She's rare because you barely see her being used. You see people like Susan, you see people like Marcus, Fire King, David. They just completely outshine Mary, bro. Her kit isn't really as good as it should be for a shooting guard. For example, this preemption, it comes in handy sometimes, but it's very rare that I can actually even get this off. So just make sure you're guarding her close. It's basically the exact same thing that you want to do against Fire King and Maggie. You want to make sure you're staying inside the middle of her disturbance zone and look out for those drift 3 points, because just like Fire King, she has distance twice on her upgrades. So guard her close, stay inside the middle of her disturbance zone, and make sure you try your best to get, at the very least, a severe disturbance on her 3-point shots. All right, man, so that should just about cover everything. Make sure y'all keep in mind, guard these shooting guards closely. Unless they put you in a situation where you need to step back a little bit, at that point, you make sure you step back up at the right time to get a normal or severe disturbance. That's it, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one.